Okay, I am here with a video to talk about my past life regression hypnosis session with Allison from Atlantis Rising Crystals. So she became a really close friend of mine over like the last year. I met her on Instagram, and I actually didn't know that she was a hypnotherapist specializing in past life regressions when I started talking to her. And as most of you guys will know, I am an Akashic Records reader, and it's my passion to connect people to their Akashic Records and to their star family, to their past lives, and just to all the knowledge that they already carry deep within them. So that is basically what I'm passionate about. And then we started talking, and she's a hypnotherapist, and she has a very intuitive shamanic approach to the way she does her hypnotherapy sessions. And I knew that at some point I was gonna probably end up doing a hypnotherapy session with her. It's not something that I felt that I needed because I could have easily uh, done it on my own, because a lot of the time I do go into meditation on my own, and I will guide the meditation in a way so that I am able to access my own past lives, and that is how I've done it in the past. Um, I have had two guided hypnotherapy sessions in the past when someone else was putting me through the steps, and that was when I was 18 years old, a long time ago, and I'm 34 now. And another time in 2018 during a course that I was taking, we were also guided through a past life regression. And this was the first time in a while that I felt like I needed somebody else there to guide me, because even though we may be spiritual practitioners, it is a good idea sometimes to let somebody else help you on your journey too, and to have somebody else access your energy. Now, I am saying you have to be careful who you allow into your energy, but I felt 100% safe with Allison, and I knew that by allowing her into my energy, that we have a soul contract, and that it would be perfectly fine for her to do a session on me. And I felt completely comfortable knowing that she would know exactly what to do and exactly what to say and to guide me, because I know that we think alike on a lot of things, and she is very intuitive and empathic. So now let's get to the session. First, let me explain a little bit about the stuff that I have already experienced on my own. I've experienced several lifetimes that were very earth related, and that was very early on in my spiritual journey. The very first past life regression I had when I was 18 was a European lifetime where I was like living close to nature, working with herbs, herbal remedies, doing like typical witch type stuff. But it was not a negative lifetime because it was accepted by the people around me. So, but they do say that the very first experience that you have with past life regression is often uh, a nicer experience. You're going to be brought back to a lifetime that is not quite as traumatic because it's your very first experience. That's what they say. And that is what my experience was. And then many years later, when I started developing more and more on a spiritual level, I learned how to access my own Akashic records and stuff. And I did see several lifetimes on my own. And I do sort of know my soul origin, the star systems that I'm related to, the guides that I have been working with lately, and since 2017 are mainly Pleiadian and Sirian when it comes to extraterrestrial guides. but more than anything, I work with the archangels, the ascended masters, and lately I have been working more and more with an inner earth Lemurian guide that I have known from past lives, but I never knew how I knew this guide, or that's the lifetime that I was starting to get more and more in touch with. The very first Earth lifetime that I have lived here on this planet, but I had only seen little bits and pieces. I never really knew a lot about that lifetime, but little by little, these last couple of weeks, I've been getting lots of downloads and lots of knowledge that I have been receiving from that spirit guide, and also from just meditating and connecting with water. And I'll get to all of that in a little bit. So I felt that the time was right to finally reach out to Allison, and I felt that it was time for somebody else to hold space for me, to see how deep I could get into that lifetime. But I was really open to anything. I was open to anything presenting itself to me, because I know that the universe will show you exactly what you need to see at exactly the right time. So I had a very strong feeling that I was going to be led back to that lifetime, because it's been trying to like get through to me. Like, all of these remembrances are trying to come up to the surface. So I had a very big suspicion that if I would have been brought down to a state of hypnosis, that that lifetime was going to be the one that was going to resurface. But I was open to anything. So I was just willing to see what was going to show itself. But all day, I did have this really anxious feeling, like I was going to see something really important, like something really important was going to happen. And I even told Allison, I said, it's weird because you're my friend, I know you, like this is just you, it's just Allison. Why am I so nervous? And I've done this before, past life regression. I know how it works. I know what it feels like to enter past lifetimes. So I didn't understand why I was feeling so nervous. Kind of like how, like the day before a really important day, the feeling you have, that anxious feeling you have, that's the way I was feeling. Yeah, excuse all this mess behind me. I really need to clean up in here. But anyway, back to my story. So we get on the call. It's a Zoom call, and she is going to record the whole thing through Zoom. And so I made sure that there weren't any distractions, that everyone was out of the house. My kids were out of the house. I was here on my own. I was comfortable. I was on my bed. I had pillows behind me. I made sure that I was comfortable, that I didn't have to go to the bathroom or anything for an hour and a half. So I made sure that everything was taken care of, that I had everything I needed, and that I had my phone on airplane mode. I had my laptop plugged into the charger. I had everything taken care of. So, and she tells me, close your eyes, and she counts me down to the state of hypnosis, and she does an amazing job. She went through my entire chakra system, and she basically told all my chakras to release any negative energy, or just like excess energy that you don't need for this experience. And then I saw Yeshua. He was by me with white light, cleansing all of my chakras. She didn't suggest that. That just happened spontaneously, that he was there and he assisted me. And she also asks you to call in your spirit guides for extra support. So I called in Archangel Michael, my dragon guide, my unicorn guide, and a few ET guides that I somehow knew were gonna play a part in this experience. So they were there. So she counts me down to the state of complete relaxation, and my heart started beating really fast. And I remember that I was like, that's never happened before. But I felt like there was already this energy present that was influencing me, like a frequency, a very high frequency that was kind of trying to lift up my frequency, and my body was trying to recalibrate or something to that frequency that was being presented to me at the time. But I still didn't know what I was going to see or anything. So, and then she basically has me enter the lifetime, and the first thing I see is myself swimming like this. I just see my arms, and I'm underwater. And then that's where it gets kind of blurry, because I remember going into the session, and I remember the beginning a little bit, but then the details get really blurry. There's apparently people that remember all the details, everything they said, and I remember bits and pieces here and there. And then as she told me back all the stuff I said, it started to come back. And the same thing happens to me when I am working with people's spirit guides or their higher self, and I get my messages through automatic writing or channeling. And what happens is that I have to go read everything again because I don't remember what I wrote down. So it's kind of the same. So as she started telling me everything again, I remembered it. But now what happened during our session is that almost 50 minutes into the hypnotherapy session, all of a sudden, I wasn't hearing her voice anymore. And I was describing what I was seeing. And then suddenly her voice was gone. And a voice told me, another voice, one of my guides said, "Open your eyes." So I opened my eyes, and she's no longer on my laptop screen. She's gone. And I guess her laptop died, and I brought myself out of hypnosis. So that's what happened. And right after that call with her, we decided to hop on Instagram Live. And on her Instagram account, you can find the story that about basically the experience. Go to Atlantis Rising Crystals on Instagram, and then click the IGTV video right there. So make sure to head over to her page later to see everything that we could recall, because unfortunately Zoom didn't record the session because it got basically her laptop died on us, so she wasn't able to record it. And I guess it didn't save the recording because it didn't get shut down properly or whatever. But the thing is, after that call with her, I decided to go outside. So let me just tell you guys the stuff that I can remember, because I did start to remember more during my dream state. But let me just go over it real quick. The stuff that I have started to remember is, because this is really interesting, because for a lot of the people that I work with, they have Lemurian past lives. And I never said in my session that this was a Lemurian lifetime, but it's pretty safe to assume that this was the very first time I was on Earth. That's what I did say during the session. So it is safe to say that it was during my very first lifetime as part of the Lemurian civilization. So what happened is I saw myself swimming underwater with a whole group of people, like hundreds, like 200 or 300 other people. We were swimming underwater, kind of like a school of fish, and we had kind of light blue skin. And what we were doing is we were activating the water, putting codes in the water of remembrance, and using the water as like a storage thing, like for information, for galactic information that we brought with us from the stars. And we were doing that to the water 6 hours a day. That's what I said in the session. For 6 hours a day, we would swim in the water. We would work with the water, activate the water, and basically store all our knowledge into the consciousness of water. And what we did was we would work with the whales and the dolphins, and we would circle around them, spin around them, kind of create a vortex, and they would act like magnets, and all the energy, all the knowledge would be stored in the whales and the dolphins. And all my life I've been obsessed with dolphins and whales. And so now I know why, because I used to work with them in past lives, and that's what we did. And the whales and the dolphins would hold on to the Akashic information until it was time to release it back. And I said that was the time would be right when the consciousness of the planet would be high enough for that information to be released back into the water. And these last couple of weeks, I had been receiving a lot of downloads. A lot of stuff was coming from my guides in meditation, from a water consciousness, about how to work with water, different ways to activate your crystalline DNA through water, your fifth dimensional DNA. I'm going to put all that stuff in a class. I'm going to put all that stuff together and offer it at some point, because it's so much that I'm still working on integrating a lot of it. And I'm going to start offering it when I feel that I have completely integrated it and applied it to my own life. And then what we said too is that there were very big trees. What I said too is that there were really big trees, but really, really gigantic trees, way taller, way larger, wider than we know right now. And those trees would serve as microphones or antennas. And that is how we would brief our galactic family through the trees. That's basically what I said. But you'll have to just go to Allison's account, listen to her story, because we got on the call right after the session, and I told her as much as I could remember, and she told me as much as she could remember right after, because we didn't get a chance to save the recording. And then after that, I remember that she brought me to the ship. All of a sudden, I was on the ship, but the ship was extremely big. And the way I know, yeah, let me go now to what happened after the experience. So I'm going to get back to the ship stuff in a little bit, but it's just so much that I don't know what to say first and when, because it's so much. Okay, what I did before I went to sleep was that I meditated, and I also asked before I closed my eyes that if I would fall asleep, that I would get more signs during my dream state, that they would bring back the memories from the regression, so that I would actively remember and consciously be able to tap into the memories, because I didn't really remember much from the session. Probably also because it got kind of cut off so abruptly, but also because I that's just what happens to me. I don't remember much when I'm in the state of hypnosis, and I come out of it. I don't really remember much, so I have to go read it again or listen to it again. But then this morning when I woke up, and I had a really good sleep. And the thing is, my son was also mentioned in the regression, and we co-sleep. He sleeps with me. He sleeps right next to me. He's only 16 months old, but he was in my regression, and he played a really big part in the story. And the moment he was in a deep sleep, I said, okay, your higher self is going to meet me up in the ship. I'm going to go into meditation right now, and we're going to go there together. And I remember that I was instantly in meditation, but then I went straight from my meditation to sleep, because I woke up hours later. This morning there were a bunch of memories that I had all of a sudden that I didn't have yesterday. So what happened is that I feel like that's what I remember from being asleep, because I feel like I didn't sleep at all. And I had a pretty good sleep. That I was on the ship, and I was shown all these screens, but they weren't really screens. They were kind of like organic technology. It was nothing like we know here. It was way more advanced. It was sensitive to emotions. It responded to the emotions of the crew members. And it was a really, really big ship for the entire. I did mention some of that in the video with Allison, so go check that out. You really have to go watch that, because that then you get the whole story. And it was a really, really big ship, the size of a small city almost. There were just a lot of people there, and it was divided into several compartments. And there were people from Earth that go there in their dream state, and they work with the crew members with their emotions, because they need to always be briefed by people on Earth, and they need to stay in touch with people from there that have decided to come to Earth, because they need to stay up to date on the emotional state of mind of the average human. That's what I understood. That's what they're doing. They're monitoring our emotions, because the emotions are the gateway, kind of the portal to see how far we are in our spiritual journey. And yeah, and I remember we were brought there before we came here as a very large group, and I'm talking about like linear time, possibly 300,000 years ago, when Lemuria was first founded, before there were any human civilizations really here, because I know that before that time there were alien colonies that were on the planet. But yeah, that's what I said too. In the regression, I called it Project Earth. So of course they didn't speak with words. All communication happened telepathically. So that's also how they were just communicating with each other telepathically. But I'm translating it to just English right now, and it translates to Project Earth. That's what it was, and we decided to come here for Project Earth. And then she says, "Do you recognize any of the people?" And in the water, when I was swimming in the water with this whole group of people, there's my friend Nicole. I've known her since 2017, and she's been there with me through this whole spiritual reawakening. And yeah, she's been in other lifetimes with me too that I've seen since then. So I would think, okay, maybe I'll see family members or something first, but I saw her there with me in the water. And it doesn't surprise me, because she's very connected to nature. She's very connected to the ocean and trees. When you go and look on her Instagram, she's always posting trees and water. So yeah, she was there. And then on the ship there was my son in this now lifetime, and he was there, and he was one of the people in that specific part of the ship that was like in command of the communication to Earth. But he never came to Earth. He always stayed on the ship. I did know from tapping into his Akashic records before that he was Pleiadian in origin, that his soul blueprint is Pleiadian. So again, I'm not surprised, but I somehow thought that we had history together on the Pleiades, and we probably do. But then I also saw that we had history on this ship, and this ship is still there. But that's information that we didn't get to, because I would have loved to get to that part, like what the ship would be called, and what like people or races that it's related to, because I'm sure it was a gigantic ship. Like a lot of star seeds are in touch with this ship right now. And that's where it got kind of blurry and we were cut off. But we were already close to 50 minutes of recording. But that just shows you how important this time right now is. The time that we are living in right now, how extremely important this is. Because if there are babies being born right now in this time that have never set foot on Earth as an incarnated human, that literally have been on the other side watching us for centuries and centuries and thousands of years, that are now saying, okay, we are going to do this, and we are going to let go of our Pleiadian, Syrian, Arcturian bodies and integrate as babies, human babies born on planet Earth, we are going to do this because this is a very important time, then that means that this truly is a very important time. If there are souls here that have never incarnated on planet Earth and they think it's worthwhile to incarnate now during this time, that is very hopeful to me. So I've told you guys in a few videos back, I said, do not get caught up in fear propaganda. Do not get caught up in negativity. I'm not saying ignore it and put your head in the sand. I'm saying you are so much more powerful than you think. If there are souls from the Pleiades, from Arcturus, from Sirius, from Orion that have never been born on planet Earth, and they are now integrating as babies here to grow up as adults with all this galactic information, do you think they're going to do that just because maybe we'll ascend or maybe we'll destroy? They're not going to come down here if there's a chance that this is going to fail. They're going to come down here because they know that this is going to happen now, that it's happening now, that we are ascending now. And that's the feeling that I really got from this experience, and that's what I remember. That's what I remember now that I think of it from my dream state when I got back and woke up this morning. That's the whole purpose of why I needed to see what I saw, because I kept wondering, where is this information coming from? Who is giving me this information? Where's the source of all this? Where am I getting this? I know it's from my own Akashic records. I know it's from my own soul's library, but where exactly did this originate? Where did I gather this information? Where did I originally get all of this information on my timeline as a soul? And we know now, of course, I knew that I had Pleiadian connections, that I had Sirian connections. Those are the two main ones that I know. And that's what they're trying to say. We know so much. We know so much. And yes, there are stories of these galactic ships, and they are not just stories. This is not stuff that I could have ever made up. This is not stuff that I would ever make up because I don't like being the center of attention. But this is stuff that I felt I needed to put in a video for you. This regression, I feel like you guys all just need to go to Alice and have a past life regression with her. She's also just very good at holding the space for you in a very compassionate, intuitive way for you to feel comfortable, to completely open up and access all this information that you have deep inside of you. And she knows exactly what to say at exactly the right time. Her timing was perfect. Her voice, the way she speaks, it's all perfect. And in a way, I feel bad that we didn't get to do the full session, but unfortunately, like, we found out later why that happened, but that was something that we could not have foreseen, because she took every precaution in making sure that her laptop was working properly. But still, it was an amazing experience. And if you want to know more about your past lives, there's two ways to do this. I know that for some people, it's very intense to be brought back to a past life through regression. So if you would like to get to know a little bit more about your past lives first, without it being very impactful and you seeing it yourself, you can go to a skilled Akashic Records reader who can assist you with a soul blueprint reading, who can assist you with a past life reading. I would be more than happy to assist you in that way. I would be more than happy to dive into your soul with you and to look at what star systems are you connected to, how are you connected to them, what have you been doing on this planet or other planets since you came from Source, what is your mission here, what are you supposed to do here in this lifetime. I could help you with that in different ways. You can find that information on my website or just DM me and we can have a chat. Or you can contact Allison. She's an amazing past life regressionist. She has experience, I feel, she may disagree, but I feel that she is very good at guiding people through galactic past lifetimes. She knows exactly what to say, but she can just go over any time period ever. She knows exactly how to guide you, because she basically channels while she's assisting you. She's also channeling what source is telling her how to guide these people when they're in their hypnotic state. So that is definitely a good idea. I'm going to tag her in this video. Let me think if there's anything else that I really wanted to say about this experience. Okay, one last thing. So I have been open to the galactic side of spirituality for quite some time now, and there's no denying that there simply is life out there, and that they are here supporting us, and that we didn't just do all this on our own. We are supported by people in the stars. We are from the stars, and there is more and more evidence every day that this is a fact. And science is just basically starting to see that, and it's not always being brought out to the public, but it's starting to be more and more known to the public that there was some kind of galactic origin, that there is a galactic origin to all life on planet Earth. And when I dove into this work that I do a few years ago, I knew that what I was receiving was real. All the stuff, all the clients that I've worked with, I knew that all of that stuff was real. But still, seeing it in a regression, when you are the topic of what's happening, of the story, that's still something completely different. Because usually other people are the topic of my stories, and I will see their story and get all the information about them. But this time it was me that was living the story, and I was seeing everything like revolve around me. And that is not that is just, yeah, it's really special. It's an amazing experience. So definitely, if you want to dive into past lifetimes, if you want to dive into galactic connections, if you want to dive into what are you doing here, who are your spirit guides, who is assisting you right now, then don't hesitate. I would love to help you. Allison would love to help you. We are here. That's what we're here for. That's why we are here. And as I will start to remember more and more, because I hope that more and more memories will come back later in meditation, yesterday, later after the regression, they did tell me that little by little I would start to remember more and more spontaneously. And I can't wait to share all of that stuff with you guys. And more than anything, I would love to hear your experience. If you have experience with past life regression, with seeing your own galactic lifetimes, connections to star systems, tell me in the comments. And yeah, I think that's it. I've been rambling for quite some time, and yeah, just kind of wanted to let you guys know that Allison is really amazing when it comes to past life regression, and just kind of what came up in the session, because I thought it was really interesting. So let me know in the comments if this resonates, if you feel like you have similar experiences, like on a soul level, you can kind of feel that this is true, that it resonates with you. Maybe it's worth getting a regression or working with me to see where your Akashic records lead you. So that's it. I'm gonna go now because I'm gonna just keep on rambling. So I'm just gonna stop recording now. Bye.